At an American football match, Nicky sits in the VIP stands with his girlfriend Jess. He starts with a playful $10 bet on how many people will look back at a girl leaving her seat, which Jess wins. Soon, a man named Liu joins, and the bets escalate from $1,000 to $5,000, then $10,000, $50,000, and finally $100,000. Each time Nicky loses. Ignoring Jess's pleas to stop, Nicky wagers his remaining $1 million on a final card draw. Liu pulls a 5, and Nicky, confident, reveals a 3, losing everything. Stunned and humiliated, he quietly starts to leave with Jess. Liu keeps teasing him, so Nicky shocks Liu by betting $2 million on a strange challenge, guessing the jersey number of any player Liu picks through binoculars. Nicky lets Jess guess instead, telling her to pick a number that feels like her own. She chooses 55, which turns out to be correct, winning back all their losses plus $1 million. In the car, Nicky reveals it was all a setup. His team had been planting the number 55 in Liu mind all day, on signs, labels, music, and even a friend's jersey, so he would unknowingly pick it. Jess, kept in the dark to appear genuine, is left amazed at Nicky's plan. The story has just started. Subscribe now so you don't miss what happens next. A few days earlier, Nicky lay in bed with Jess beside him when a man aimed a gun at his head. Jess had brought Nicky to that room by tricking him, but Nicky saw a natural talent in her. At that time, Jess didn't understand anything. Nicky revealed he was a master con artist from a family of cheats. Impressed by Jess's natural trickery, he showed off by stealing her ring, watch, and wallet without her noticing, telling her that all it took was sleight of hand, timing, and style. Months later in New Orleans, Nicky tested Jess to see if she could join his team. At a fair, she distracted people with a map while her partner stole items, then picked pockets on her own. She quickly proved herself, and Nicky let her work solo, stealing valuables with ease. Soon, Jess was part of bigger scams, using special lenses to read cards, cloning credit cards, and even running a fake ATM to steal pins. The cards were used for luxury purchases, and the data sold on the black market. One day, Jess tried on a beautiful necklace, but Nicky told her to take it off. Everything they stole had to be sold, never kept. Soon after, Jess and Farad staged a scene in a wealthy area, with Farad pretending to faint while the team robbed nearby rich onlookers. They escaped in an ambulance. The plan so flawless, no one suspected a thing. That week, they made $1.2 million. The next day, the team prepared to split, destroying documents as Nicky promised bank transfers. But the old members knew he had one last mission. Taking Jess to a stadium VIP lounge, Nicky showed her how he could make $1 million in minutes. Jess, now in love, thought he was sharing his world with her, until he handed her only $8,000 and said goodbye. Heartbroken, she realized Nicky had only used her, and in his world, there was no room for emotions. Nearly 3 years later, Nicky, now tired and low on money, meets Garriga, owner of a race car team. Garriga's team has developed a fuel-burning software in F1 racing cars that has 80% chances of winning the championship. He hires Nicky to pose as their chief engineer. The plan? Stage a fake public fight so rival teams believe Nicky has switched sides. Then, sell them a fake software, while Garriga's team uses the real one to win. Nicky would get €1 million, plus whatever he earned from the fake sale. At a party that night, the staged fight was set to begin, until Jess appeared in a red dress, walking straight to Garriga and hugging him. Nicky hadn't seen her in 3 years, and was shocked to learn she was with Garriga. She insisted she'd left con work behind, and that Garriga knew nothing of their past. Furious, Nicky downed a drink, and the fake fight with Garriga became real. Still, the rival team took notice, and by the time security threw Nicky out, he already had their business card in hand. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe button. The next morning, Nicky met the McLaren team owner and offered to sell the software for €3 million. Without bargaining, the owner tested it on the track, was impressed, and agreed to take delivery in 48 hours. Meanwhile, Jess ran into Farad, who told her Nicky had been forced to leave 3 years ago and still loved her. He handed her a box containing the same necklace she'd once admired. And though Jess said she couldn't trust Nikki, her eyes told a different story. On deal day, Nikki handed over the software and received a case full of cash. But he wasn't one to avoid risk. He'd secretly sold copies of the same system to every racing team, collecting millions from each handshake. No one knew until the race began that they all had identical software. That night, Nikki messaged Jess, asking her to meet so they could escape together. Just as he gave up waiting, she arrived, but it was too late. The strong man who'd given him the McLaren payment, actually Garriga's man, appeared, having discovered Nikki sold the real software instead of the fake. Wearing full racing gear, he rammed Nikki's car, ending the con in a violent crash. After the crash, Nikki and Jess were captured and tied up, with all the stolen cash laid out before the enraged Garriga. He had spent 40 million euros creating the software and still couldn't figure out how Nikki had stolen the real one. When Nikki stayed silent, Garriga cut off Jess's air until Nikki confessed. He had won back Jess's trust with the same necklace she once admired, this time hiding a chip inside that stole Garriga's password and copied the data. Jess was devastated, but Garriga and his men laughed, thinking it was a lie. Garriga revealed Jess was never truly his girlfriend, and she admitted she had only pretended to love him to steal his expensive watch collection, just to make Nikki jealous. Shocked, Nikki realized they had both been playing each other. When Garriga asked the butler how Nikki had really done it, Nikki began to speak, but the butler suddenly shot him in the chest. Panicking, Garriga told the butler he couldn't risk a murder charge, fired him on the spot, and fled the warehouse. Jess sobbed uncontrollably, but the butler calmly revealed, "I'm actually Nikki's man." In truth, he was Nikki's adoptive father, the one who had raised him and taught him every con. The shot had been precise, close to the heart but not through it. He sealed the wound, released the pressure, and moments later Nikki opened his eyes. The risky plan had worked. Behind them was a huge pile of cash, but as they left the warehouse, the butler took it all, dropping Nikki and Jess on the roadside. Their rule had always been simple: never get emotional. But Nikki had truly fallen for Jess. On the way to the hospital, Nikki noticed something glittering in her hand. Garriga's 200,000 euro watch. They looked at each other and smiled. With tricks like this, they knew they'd definitely survive. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more.